In this episode we head down the Mornington Peninsula, south of Melbourne, to an event that's been mentioned in the international sailing media that we were really looking forward to. This was the Capel Sound Invitational held by Rye and Rosebud yacht clubs. Basically, the offshore sea breeze provides a drag race, about 6k up and 6k back down the beach. You could pick which yacht club you started at, so some boats came from Rosebud, went to Rye and then went back. We started at the Rye end and went to Rosebud. We were attracted to this event for a few reasons. Free entry, there was a 4-day weather window and they'd pick the day that looked the best, so the weather was good. It was a reaching drag race and there were cheap burgers and chips and there were too many of them. My opponent's just come down, so it looks like we're racing. The sea breeze still hasn't kicked in, but there's some really good clouds building up in here. It's really shifty, breeze between about 11 and 5 knots, so yeah, let's see if we can get off this line clean and get on our way down to Rosebud. So the start line was an interesting concept. It was a reaching start, but when you've got kite foils doing 30 knots and kids in open skiffs doing 3 all on the same start, they wanted to make sure there was plenty of separation. So basically they asked that the slow boats started up at the windward end and the kite foils started at the leeward end, and then you had to kind of position yourself down the line about where you thought you needed to be relative to like other boats of your speed. So we went in about the middle of the line. We probably had to be a smidge up towards the windward end, but yeah, it worked relatively well. Obviously at this point the breeze hadn't come in and it was actually almost a dead square run across the start. So instead of being a drag race down the beach on a beam reach, it was going to be a VMG jibing tactical battle all the way to Rosebud. So yeah, let's watch this unfold. If you're wondering why we're on the 59er, we did plan to sail our moths in this event, but when the forecast was looking a bit iffy, we thought we'll quickly change our mind and take the 59er. Oh, and there's been a heap of people in the comments for a long time asking me to get some sort of speed overlay on my videos. For Christmas I got the little DJI watch that records the data to go on the top of the footage. So now we can see how fast we're going. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. As you can see here, 5.5 knots. And I think it's a pretty cool feature to have on the videos. Just push it, hopefully get over this one, and not those next ones. So we got off to a pretty decent start. As you can see, the water's starting to look a bit shallow here, but we didn't really know how deep it was. We were just trying to stay in this pressure, so the boats offshore, like the Tornadoes and Mozzies and other catamarans, they didn't have the best pressure. So we went as far as we thought we could, then we thought we'd jibe out. Obviously we haven't sailed this boat since that really windy day at Mordialloc about 6 months ago, so we're pretty rusty, so just ignore the boat handling. So here we start to engage with our nemesis for the next hour of downwind racing. It's a sloop-rigged Mosquito called Toy Story. The Mosquito was designed in Darwin in 1966, which is actually 1 year before the Tornado was designed in England. Even though it looks like a mini Tornado, apparently it actually came first. So we've jibed back to try and stay near the breeze inshore. As you can see, Toy Story's right there again. This time we didn't quite make it across them, so we've come back across their transom. So let's see where we end up on the next cross. So the breeze was significantly better inshore, both in angle and strength. As you can see here, it is really starting to look a bit shallow, but we were pulling in that Tornado ahead of us until we gave the bottom a little bit of a nudge. Fortunately, we could just heel the boat over slightly, pull the centerboard up a smidge and get out of there.
Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go.
And here we come again, back on port, trying to get across the front of Toy Story. This time we did get there. Yeah, pretty cool racing. We pushed out offshore, but as you can see, the breeze died off again. So yeah, back inshore we went. You can see here again that tornado with the white kite made going inshore. It just, yeah, it was a real struggle to make going out pay.
See?
You can also see Toy Story popping out underneath the spinnaker here. They did really well going inshore at this part of the course. We've then completely run out of wind and was floating around while the rest of the fleet was bringing the next line of pressure down to us. So, yeah, this would have really hurt us on handicap, combined with all the distance we were sailing going back and forth, and sort of tacking downwind. So these boats that we're coming up to here that are going upwind, so they're the A-classes that started from the other end.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've obviously been working that inshore side as well. There's not much around that's faster than an A-class upwind in light air, so yeah, you can see why they were doing quite well.
Yep. There goes.
So as you can see here, Toy Story obviously didn't have too much pressure when they went offshore, and yeah, we were playing that beach side. So yeah, let's see if we can get across them this time. Yeah, as you can see, we just got there. So I think this time we had to go out to sea a fair way because we realised that the gate in the middle of the course that was designed to keep the fleets kind of together was actually a fair way out to sea. So we had to do a relatively long leg to get out there. About here we knew we were in trouble overall. We saw this taser coming back from the Rosebud end, and they got to the gate before us, and then we're meant to be slightly faster than a taser, so we knew they had better breeze when the race started. So yeah, we knew overall we were going to struggle here.
We're running no wind. Yeah, but then.
So now we've got Toy Story coming back at us on starboard. I think we managed to hold on to our lead just here.
Yep, got him. Alright. No, we're ahead. Oh, way back. Up ahead. That Hobie looks to be in high pressure. Like, I reckon it's going to shift. Nah, both of them. That one and the next one.
Here we could see two Hobies that were well inshore that were pointing quite high on port, so we reckoned the breeze was going to start to knock us and hopefully build. Yeah, watch your compass here and you can see how much we bear away as we get into this new breeze. So we're sailing a lot more down the track now instead of across it. We didn't want to go too far away from the beach since that side was paying with this new shift, so we decided to go back over there pretty quickly. So you can just make out under the compass there that there's a Mosquito catamaran, the same as Toy Story, but with a spinnaker. So the Mosquito's cool in that you can sail them cat rigged with just a mainsail and one person, or you can sail them with a main and a jib and two people, or you can sail in any of those combinations with a spinnaker. When they first came out with the spinnaker, particularly the single-handed version about 20 years ago, I remember they were just so fast, like you couldn't believe it, because there wasn't really a whole lot around. Obviously since then we've seen the Viper and F-16s and all that come along, which have taken that concept further, but the Mosquito is still awesome value, I reckon, for that kind of thing.
Ready? 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Sorry, creeper. I was waiting for it.
So through the bottom part of this course, we ended up having a bit of a decent battle with this kite foil who was struggling with the lulls and the pressure. I'm pretty sure this might actually be the guy that did an attempt to kite foil around Australia, which is just amazing. I remember watching some of his training runs that he posts on Facebook, and he'd just go from like Mornington to Frankston and back in an afternoon just because he could, doing 30 knots. Like, it was just so cool, and his charity, I think it's Kiteboard for Life, is really cool as well. So that's worth a look. So here we've got our Nemesis Toy Story coming back at us on port. Will we get across, or what are we going to do with this one? We've also managed to hold on to the Tornado with the white kite. This time we're not going to get across the front of Toy Story, so they've made a bit of a gain on us going offshore. The Catamarans seem to go better as the breeze comes up a bit more than we do. Yeah, let's see if we can stay in the pressure and get them on the next jibe back.
There we go. Pull.
So yeah, this leg we've been offshore cruising along at 10 knots for a while, run into a bit of a light spot coming back in, but the Tornado and Toy Story look to have suffered more along the beach there as this sea breeze tries to establish itself. We must have kind of accidentally ended up in a bit more of the old breeze, and we're right back in it here.
Yep, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Go!
So we wanted to stay between the beach and Toy Story and the Tornado here just to try and get the new pressure as it comes down. As you can see sort of behind us there, it looks like we're jibing into something good. And straight back up to 10 knots and off we go.
Yeah. Do you want to go before him? Before him, yeah. Here we go.
So here as we approach the bottom mark for the first time, this is the lead foiling A-class. Have a bit of a moment. He managed to save it, but it was a pretty cool foiling jibe he tried down the bottom. So he'd done one lap by the time we'd done one downwind. It's also worth noting that these Windsurfer 1 designs that had gone straight down the beach ended up getting to the bottom mark at the same time as us, jibing all over the place trying to stay in pressure. And our Nemesis Toy Story did get to the bottom mark just ahead of us, as did the Tornado. I didn't want to get stuck out to sea if the breeze was going to start shifting around. I just thought maybe if we stay closer to the beach we can get into the new pressure early and kind of lift up inside the other boats. There was also the rest of the monohull fleet coming down behind us, and I figured if they come round the mark in the new breeze and we're stuck offshore in the old breeze, they could easily all climb up inside us. So we did a quick tack inshore just to make sure we're in the new pressure, not the old pressure. And as you can see, that was worth doing because we ended up about 37 degrees higher when we tacked back onto port and kept heading up the course. So these boats coming downwind up here with the red tips on their mainsails, those are a massive local class called the Sabre. They were designed in 1974 by a teacher who wanted something that would suit local conditions, and at the last state titles for Victoria they had something like 90 entries, which is just unbelievable. This next boat coming down with the red stripe is a 125, another Australian class that was designed in 1969 to sit between the Mirror, that's famous overseas, and the larger Mirror 16. Initially it wasn't very popular, but then with the addition of a trapeze and a bigger rig, they eventually took off, and they were sort of like the 29er in their day, I suppose, but there's still a heap of them around. This boat coming past there is actually a pacer, which is like a 12-foot long version of the 125, I suppose, but that one was designed by Jack Holt in England, who designed the Mirror. Don't know what happened there. As you can see, the jib almost inverted, so I don't know if we sailed into a massive lull or a huge knock. Unfortunately, this footage is the last ever recorded by that camera on the boom, which is the one that basically started this channel and recorded the first 60 or so episodes all by itself. For whatever reason, it's been sort of playing up and hasn't been shutting properly, and then it let water in this time, and yeah, that was all it ever filmed. Eventually we made it to the gate, still having a good battle with this classic A-class. The A-classes looked so good going back and forth up on the foils. I'll have to give that a go one day, that looks really cool. This boat here, that's a Sabre but with the shark sail, which is just under 1 square metre bigger, but sort of evolved out of the need to want a square top main. I noticed they've also recently made one with a jib called the Twin Sabre, so yeah, a whole lot of classes coming out of the Sabre at the moment by the looks of it. This catamaran coming through to leeward is a Paper Tiger, which was designed in July 1966 by Ron Given in New Zealand. They're still pretty quick and very popular. They run, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but they look to use sort of A-class old straight boards and stuff, so yeah, they pick up really good equipment off other classes and you end up with a light, fast 14-footer for not a lot of money. Here's Dave, who seems to be going fast downwind in all my videos recently. He also obviously elected to sail his Taipan and not his Moth. And there's a Paper Tiger again. And yeah, eventually we made it to the finish. We thought since we'd finished relatively early, we'd go for a quick run downwind now that the breeze had filled in. Obviously it wasn't quite enough breeze for it to be super fun, but it was still awesome just cruising out into the middle of the bay with the kite up. While we're cruising downwind here, I just wanted to say a massive thanks to all the people that leave a comment, like the videos, and send me a message on Instagram or come up to me in real life. It's really appreciated. And also massive thanks to the people on Patreon that continue to support the channel financially. Yeah, it makes a big difference, so check that out in the link below. So we came away from this one 7th in our division. A bit of a shocker. We just struggled obviously with that first bit of the course, and we sailed way too far and then we tipped over, and yeah, it just wasn't ideal. We then de-rigged in record time so my brother could catch the last ferry of the day, so his commute home looked like this instead of a 3-hour ordeal around the bay that he did in the morning. Interestingly, they've changed the brand of chocolate milk on the ferry. So I stuck around for the burgers and chips and the presentation. It was great to hear from the organisers sort of what they're thinking going forward with the event. Basically they want to do the opposite to any sort of established yachting traditions. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there next year. It was a great event and yeah, we had fun.